So guys, what is going on? I hope you guys are well. I hope you guys are staying safe. Guys, I want to do a video about Amir Khan. Amir Khan put up a post up on his Twitter, on his social media, saying, who should I fight for my 40th fight? And I thought it deserved a video. I thought it deserved me giving my opinion and take on who I want to see Amir Khan fight, who Amir Khan should fight. Not to say that Amir Khan's gonna do what I say, but I just thought I'd give my take on what I would like to see, or some of the fights that I would like to see, and go through some of the options that I think is definitely possible for him. Firstly, I think one must say that he's had a great career, and even if he doesn't fight again, we can hope he can be proud of what he's done in boxing as an amateur and as a pro. I think he's at the obviously twilight of his career now. He's at, you would say, the end where he's got a couple of more fights, possibly at a full stretch. He's got a couple of more fights, and then that will probably be that. He'll probably retire. But I've said this, and I said this to a couple of people on a few boxing groups that I'm in as well, that what I would love Amir Khan to do, like, it's all great seeing Amir Khan getting into politics, and I'm pretty sure he obviously does a load of charity work, and he's done a lot of good stuff, for a lot of people, and I don't think he gets enough credit for that. He's done a lot in his life. He's only 30 something, and he seems like he's done so much, in his boxing career, and the charity work that he's done. It's everything that he's done outside of the ring has been great. Like, a lot of it's been great. Yeah, he's got himself into trouble now and then, but at the end of the day, I think he's done a lot of positive. He's done a lot more. I think his good outweighs his bad. That's for sure. He's done a lot. I remember in the coronavirus pandemic that we were still going through, he was going out and giving like food to the elderly. Like, the guy's done so many good things, and he's done it for years and years. It's not like, people accuse him of doing it for a publicity stunt. When he's been doing things like this for years. You can't have the continuous drive to do things like that for years if you're doing it as a publicity stunt. He's been doing it for years. I'm talking right at the beginning start of his, even when he was in his prime, he was doing it. So I think he deserves a lot of respect and credit for that, for doing what he did. And like I said, I think he's achieved a lot in his boxing career. But what I'd like to see him do is just put that for a rest for maybe 1 or 2 more years of his life. Because your boxing career is short, and Amir Khan's not got long left. He hasn't got long left in his boxing career. I would love to see him just dedicate himself to boxing for the next 2 years, where that's all he thinks about, that's all he eats, drinks, sleeps, just boxing. I know he's done it for majority of life, and boxing is a tough game, it's a tough sport. But just for the next 2 years, because then he's never going to have to do it again. Once he retires, that's it. He's never going to box again. He's never going to do it, maybe to keep himself fit. But he's never going to be boxing professionally again. You only have one career. Just for the next 2 years, if he can put everything aside and just dedicate himself just to boxing, I still feel that Amir Khan can do something. Not necessarily at the elite level, when he was 10 years younger or 10 years ago. But I definitely think there's names at world level that Amir Khan can still beat. For 1,000,000%. I don't think we should be I think that Crawford fight wasn't a full reflection of where he's at. He's only 33. I think a lot of that's probably down to inactivity, probably him being out of the gym for long periods, as we heard Virgil Hunter say. I still feel that Amir Khan, if he dedicates himself for another 2 years where he just eats, drinks, sleeps, boxing, I still feel there's a lot of guys he can beat. There may be fights that you think he has no chance in that he can surprise you in. He may not even win, but he may surprise you by his performance. But again, it will require him to dedicate himself for the next 2 years. I don't think it's a case where he can just kind of maybe if he gets a fight with Pacquiao, turns up and trains for 12 weeks, I'm not sure that's going to cut it, because you're getting older, you start to get slower, your reflexes and everything slow down. You need to be sharper, you need to be in the gym a lot more, you need to be, and when I mean a lot more, you need to be, even when you're out of camp and you're not training for a fight, you need to be on it, and you still need to be training. And only he knows if he's been doing that. Obviously, I don't know. But I just feel if he can dedicate himself for the next 2 years of his life, I still feel that, and have a plan, have a 3-fight plan. I'm gonna have 3 more fights, and these are the 3 guys I want to fight. If I can get through the first one, then these are the type of guys that I want to target. If I get through that, then I'll fight. Have a kind of a plan, like Floyd did towards the back end of his career. You know, when he had that deal with Showtime, he retired, and everybody thought, what's happening with Floyd? And then he ended up having that deal with Showtime. I think Amir Khan, obviously, I don't know if he's gonna get that. He's not gonna get that kind of deal. What I mean is, I feel like if he has a kind of a plan, a 3-fight plan, that this is what I want to do. These are the kind of opponents. If I win my first fight, these are the kind of opponents I want to target for the second fight, and then if I win that fight, then these are the type of opponents that I target for a 3rd fight. I think that's what he should do. I think he should have a plan, and then smash it. Look to smash the end of his career. But in terms of the opponents, I think there's a lot of names out there. There's a lot of names out there that I think could definitely make good fights. Obviously, I think a lot of people have mentioned this guy's name, Adrian Broner. I think that's a great fight, and I always wanted to see that fight, just because I think it would have been fun, the interaction between both Amir Khan and Broner, and I think they both get on as well, so I think it would make for a fun fight, and it make for a fun promotion as well. I would love to see that fight, if I'm honest with you, and I think they're both at the same stage of their careers now. I think that fight makes a lot of sense, actually. I do. So that's definitely a fight that would interest me, the Broner fight. I think that would be the fight that I think he should look to make. That could be a big fight here in the UK, and a big fight in the... When I say big fight in the US, I wouldn't say big fight in terms of... Because, like I said, neither of them hold world titles, and they're both towards kind of the back end of their career. But I think that fight would probably be a big fight here in the UK. I think a lot of people will turn out to watch that, just because Broner's a lively character, and obviously Amir Khan's a star in the UK. So I just think that would make a massive fight, massive event here. But again, now with this pandemic and the fact that no one can go to the fights, that's a bit of a problem, because I think a fight like that would need a crowd. But, you know, we don't know, this time next year, possibly could get a crowd, you know. Or even maybe early next year, we might be able to get a small crowd. So like I said, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Or maybe you could do it in Saudi Arabia with Broner. That's another option as well. I would love to see Amir Khan end his career with a big stadium fight here in the UK. That would be something that I think should be at the top of his list as well. He's never really had a massive major fight here in the UK in a big stadium. And I think that's something that he should look to do before he finishes his career. And there are a few names, and there's probably a few names that I want to say. So Broner's one of them. And there's going to be a few names that may surprise you. I think a fight with Prescott. Listen, Prescott's probably finished. I don't even know if he's fighting anymore. But I just think Prescott, if he's in retirement, would come out of retirement to fight Amir Khan again. I'd love to see him avenge that loss. Maybe a fight with Peterson, even though I know Peterson's finished. But again, I'd love to see him avenge that loss, because I don't think he lost. I would love to see him fight against Danny Garcia. I'd love to still see that fight. I still think, again, if he can get into tip-top condition, even though I think Garcia would be a major favorite in that fight, I still think that Amir Khan could potentially surprise us in a fight like that as well. A fight with Brook, of course. That's obviously a fight that the whole of the UK wanted to see for a very long time. I'm not sure that would happen, but, you know, I think that's a fight definitely that potentially could be a fight that, you know, he could look at. A fight with Thurman. Again, you know, these names that I've taken towards the end, I think they would be like a second fight. I think the names that I took earlier like Broner, someone like Jesse Vargas, this is something that he could fight right away. And if he doesn't beat someone like Broner or Jesse Vargas, then really you'd say that his days are obviously done at that kind of level, that above that, like Thurman, Garcia, because you'd expect Thurman, Garcia to beat guys like Broner and Jesse Vargas. So that's why I say, like, have a 3-fight plan. And that's the way I think I think you should look at it. I just personally think that a fight with Broner makes a lot of sense, because I think it's fun. I think it's a big money fight. I think it's a fight he should win if it's anything like that Amir Khan that we know. And then also it kind of gives him a kind of a leverage for another bigger fight against some of the names like the Garcias, the Thurmans, you know. And another fight, you know, the Brook as well. Brook will fight Amir Khan. It doesn't matter, you know, he'll fight Amir Khan. I don't think it really matters to Kell Brook. Kell Brook just wants to fight Amir Khan. So I think you could say that, you know, that could be a fight that if Amir Khan wants next, will probably happen, even if Kell Brook loses or wins against Crawford. But another fight which some people have mentioned to me, and I don't know whether this would interest Amir Khan, but a fight with Josh Taylor, I think that would be a great fight. Josh Taylor right now is everyone's hyping him up. Everyone's talking about he's a pound for pound fighter. I don't know whether Amir Khan can make 140 anymore. I doubt it, you know, because we heard rumors that he even struggles to make 147 now. But can you imagine if Amir Khan could get down to 140 and fight Josh Taylor? If Josh Taylor beats Ramirez for the undisputed 140-pound championship, and forget that, even if Josh Taylor moves up to 147, right, a fight with him and Amir Khan would be a brilliant fight, I think, because I don't think Josh Taylor's Terence Crawford. I think he's a level below that, but again, he'd be favoured to beat Amir Khan just because of where Amir Khan's in at the stage that Amir Khan is in his career. But I still think it would make for a fun fight. I think it would make for a fun fight, and I think Khan again could surprise us a lot. Could surprise us in a fight like that. If he dedicates himself, gets in the gym, and lives like he used to probably 10 years ago, I think Amir Khan can surprise us in a fight like that as well. I'm not saying he wins, but I think he can. I think Amir Khan's more than capable of surprising. And let's not forget, this is a guy that's beaten a lot of world champions. You know, so to overlook and just write someone like that off it's not a right thing to do. And listen, I was listening, a couple of months ago, I saw a video from Boxing with Addy. A massive shout out to him. He's a great YouTuber. And he said in his video, he was doing videos, you know, comparing the 2010 fighters to the current 2020 fighters. And he said he felt Amir Khan was the best 140 pounder in 2010 around that time. And it was either Amir Khan or Tim Bradley. And he said that he feels Josh Taylor is the best 140 pounder right now. He said that Amir Khan would destroy Josh Taylor. He felt that way, that Amir Khan would destroy Josh Taylor in Amir Khan's prime. This is how much certain people that rate Khan rate him. And I agree with him. I do think prime Khan would have beaten. Whether he would have destroyed Taylor, I don't know, but I've definitely felt like stylistically Khan would have probably done a number on Taylor. But again, people would have different opinions. Everyone has their own opinions, you know. Some people would think Taylor wins. There'll be a lot of people that think Khan wins, but it would have made for a great matchup either way. But listen, there's a lot of fights. I've just gone through some of the fights. I think there's a lot of fights, and of course Pacquiao. That's another great fight for Amir Khan, which obviously he's been wanting for a very long time, and a fight that can definitely happen. But again, these are some of the names that I would like to see Amir Khan fight. And I think, listen, I think Amir Khan should go out with a bang. I do. I feel like he deserves it. I think he's had a great career, and I think he should look to go out with a bang, because I think that and I would love to see him go out with a big stadium fight here in the UK, and hopefully within end of next year, you know, it will be back to full capacity where we'll have fans in the stadium. So yeah, I think there's a lot of fights out there for Amir Khan. I do. I still do. He just needs to, I feel, get himself together in terms of just living the life that he used to live. Just forget about everything else for 1 or 2 years, dedicate himself, and I feel like Amir Khan could surprise us all. Let's not forget, this is a guy with a lot of pedigree. After all, he's achieved a lot. You know, it's just, let's see whether he can top it up and finish his career on a high. But leave your thoughts, guys. Let me know what you think. And guys, remember to please like, share, subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in the next video.